The MLS Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Bet $100 and get $100 at wynnbet.com. Or download the WynnBET app and start winning today. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast's Final Four Watch Party. This Saturday, sweat out your bets and win prizes with Ryan, Sean, and Colby over on youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. Plus, make sure to fill out our listener survey for a chance to win a $100 SGPN gift card. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survey. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survey.
Back for week 6 on the MLS slate, presented by the MLS Gambling Podcast on the SGPN Podcast Network. My name is Ty Roeder. I have Jacob Reb here. Stick around for another awesome edition of the MLS Gambling Podcast, and we have a special guest coming up, Allan Bell. So be sure to hang around, check that out. Going to be giving some good insights into the gambling world. Jacob, how was your week 5? Mine was a little bit better than the previous week, so I can't complain there.
I'm glad it's week 6.
Yeah. There you go, and glad the international break is over.
Oh my God, it is. So I get killed every international break. I tell myself I'm not going to bet it, and I bet it because there's nothing else going on, and I just get crushed every single time.
Yeah, I mean, I get the whole the top players aren't playing. But at the same time, your entire roster isn't gone. You know what I mean? Yes, some teams have 7 or 8 players missing, but from a team construction standpoint, I don't think MLS. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't think it's as big of a factor as some people make it out to be. So that's why I'm
Right.
I'm just gonna consistently bet the way I do. Maybe take note of some absences, but teams should realistically be playing the way that they play because team chemistry is on. But yeah, I mean, a couple of games turned over that I thought wouldn't occur. My Austin FC somehow dropped the ball against the Colorado Rapids, the best team in MLS. So what a fucking joke. Yeah, man, we were up, and I was like, all right, here comes a 3-0 route, maybe a 3-1. Nope, Colorado scores, and yeah, Austin FC
5th minute goal and nothing else is got to be painful. Actually, I can't talk because I got crushed on that Philadelphia Union team total. So.
Hey man, maybe we take a break from that one this week. Let's start off though. First matches in April. We got Atlanta United hosting the New York Red Bulls. Atlanta plus 110 favorites. Red Bulls plus 245 underdogs. The draw plus 255. Over under is at 2.5, leaning more towards the over. I was wrong. I thought Atlanta, even with Thiago Almada not being there going into Columbus, getting the dub. Columbus looked like the Atlanta team that we saw the first 4 weeks of the season, and they put a beat down 6-1. I think I took both teams to score. I also think I believe I took over 2.5. A lot of quality players were missing for Atlanta, but like I've said, both teams were missing, players. So it's not as if Atlanta was missing all of their players and Columbus had full strength. But I think with Almada back, I think with, of course, they have the Gutman injury, which I think is going to be a big blow. Their left back. The Red Bulls are coming off a 1-1 draw on the road to Charlotte. that's also another joke of a result. They'll be frustrated not to pick up the full 3 points. Atlanta had 2 shots on goal. Atlanta suffered their largest MLS defeat. The Red Bulls have beaten Atlanta in 4 of the last 6. Atlanta has 1 win in the last 14 meetings against the Red Bulls. However, this is a different Atlanta side. Atlanta has conceded in every home game thus far. The total is a little worrisome for me, as the Red Bulls will want to keep this low scoring. Atlanta, though, is averaging 4.2 goals per match for both teams, so the most in the league. The Red Bulls, though, are near the bottom at 1.6. So Atlanta has seen both teams to score in 4 of 5. Red Bulls 3 of 5. I like Atlanta money line. Big bounce back game at home, plus 110 is going to be my official play, and then I'm willing to bet the both teams to score at minus 140.
For sure, yeah, I definitely like both teams to score. Atlanta just got rolled in this game by Columbus. I mean, It wasn't, Columbus had somebody score a brace, plus 4 other players scored. I mean, it is just crazy. But the craziest part about it is they only had 2 shots on goal. And that's really concerning. Before that, they were pounding the ball, and I get it was break and they were missing some people, but still, only 2 shots on goal is really concerning. But if we look at the New York Red Bull side, when in the Charlotte game, they only had 26% possession of the ball the whole game. And it's not like they, scored early and didn't touch it. They scored in the 43rd minute. So, I mean, they should have had more chances. They were lucky. I mean, they should have had the win. I mean, Charlotte didn't score till like the 74th minute in that game. But New York Red Bull, like I said, they're horrible in possession so far. A couple streaks to look at. I really like you said, the both teams to score. That's hitting 7 of the last 8 for Atlanta. And New York Red Bull are without a clean sheet in their last 3 games. So I'm with you on the both teams to score, yes. I don't have a read on a winner in this game, though.
Yeah, I think with the Red Bulls, the way they consistently play in low-scoring games does leave me cause for concern. But, yeah, I like Atlanta at home. Hopefully they don't, screw me over again. Even though they didn't really screw me over, because I did take both teams to score against the Crew. And speaking of the Columbus Crew, they are our next matchup against Real Salt Lake. The Crew, minus 110 favorites. Salt Lake, plus 285. Draw plus 275, over-unders split 2.5 to 3, leaning more towards the under. The Crew had possibly their best MLS performance of all time, beating Atlanta 6-1. Like we were just talked about, some players were missing for both sides and across MLS. Salt Lake got whooped at home by St. Louis. Still puzzled how they didn't score, though, with 19 shots, 8 on target. 4 of the last 6 meetings between these clubs have seen over 3 goals. Columbus has scored 8 goals and allowed 1 goal at home thus far, and are 2-0 at home to start their home campaign. Both games at home, though, have seen them score at least 2 goals. Salt Lake have really struggled early this season. They've only earned points on the road at Vancouver, 2-1. I trust Columbus. I don't think they're going to put up another 6 spot on Salt Lake though, like they just did. Salt Lake very well, though, could be shut out in this one, which wouldn't surprise me at all. Salt Lake concede the most goals per match among any MLS team, averaging 2.25 goals conceded per match. Both teams to score is for sure stay away in this one. Columbus has seen 4 out of 5, but I just don't trust Salt Lake to get a goal on the road. So I'm sticking similar to the first game, sticking with the home team, sticking with Crew money line minus 110. I would assume probably by kickoff about to minus 120. And then if you want to get a little risky, maybe take the Crew team total over 1.5 at minus 110 or minus 112.
Yeah, that's my big play on this one for sure, is the Crew team total. Real Salt Lake has given up more than 2 goals in the last 5 games. Even though they've allowed teams to score, they've also still given up those 2 goals in the first against Austin and Vancouver. So I'm for sure on that. Real Salt Lake is just bad.
They're very bad.
But they should be converting more, and I'm really disappointed that they're not. I mean, they had 18 shots on goal, 19 shots on goal last week against St. Louis. I know St. Louis gives up a lot of shots on goal, but still, you had 8 shots on target and 9 corners. You should have been able to convert something. I will say I did cash on St. Louis team total over and money line. That's the only thing that saved me last week because I pulled 5 units out of my ass from that game. One thing I did want to touch on, if you guys go back about a minute and a half, Ty just did the best transition ever to this Columbus game. I just wanted to touch on that if you listened to his transition to this Columbus game for all those other podcasters out there. But yeah, so back to this game. Columbus is going to be all over Real Salt Lake. Definitely take the money line, team total over, and honestly, I like the game over here. I think Columbus does it themselves.
Yeah, I like that as well. Yeah, Columbus very well could score 3. I mean, we saw him put up 6 against Atlanta, and I appreciate it. I was not planning on moving into the Columbus game like that, but I saw Columbus was the next game on the slate, and I figured, why not make this interesting?
WynnBET is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WynnBET is now active in Massachusetts and tons of other states. Be on the lookout for the WynnBET Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During WynnBET Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WynnBET, giving you a larger payout opportunity. And March Madness is here. So many ways to bet on the big dance. Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet 100, get 100. Limited to state availability. And, of course, for our DGens only, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you get a $1,000 free credit. There's so much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to wynnbet.com or download the WynnBET app. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Looking to hang out with Sean and Ryan at Stadium Swim and watch the biggest golf tournament in the world? You can win a 3-night stay at Circa Las Vegas to hang out with the guys. The contest is completely free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/golf-party. And if you don't win the contest, you can still get a discount on a room by using promo code SGP15. That's SGP15. The Final Four watch party is going virtual. Hang out with the guys on their YouTube channel for the entire Saturday of Final Four action. Live bets, prize giveaways, and much more. Subscribe to youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast and tune in on Saturday.
Our third game of the Saturday evening slate is FC Cincinnati against Inter Miami. Cincinnati minus 135 favorites. Inter Miami plus 360 underdogs. The draw plus 295. Over/under split 2.5 to 3, leaning slightly more towards the under. 3 games thus far that we've capped. I'm on the home team in all of them. I think the odds for these home teams for the money line is quite reasonable. Cincinnati has quietly put up some great results thus far. You know, they had that home win against Seattle where they got that red card. They just got a road win at Nashville. Very impressive. Cincy has yet to lose this season. I think what is more scary, though, is their star men, Vasquez and Brenner, only have a goal apiece on the season. On the other side, Inter Miami. Miami. You were officially on the no fucking bet list for me. After losing to Toronto in a match that I expected them to battle in, I believe that was 2 weeks ago where I took Miami because Toronto were slumping and Toronto put on a great performance. They lose at home to the Chicago Fire with a 92nd minute stoppage time goal from Kai Kamara. 3 straight losses for Miami. They have the upper hand against Cincy 4 of the last 6. And we've seen both teams score 5 of the last 6 and the over 5 of the last 6 as well. Cincy are 2-0 at home. We'll look to continue their impressive form. Miami has not scored on the road thus far. Cincy's defense has looked great against far formidable offenses. I think Seattle and I think maybe not Nashville, but I think Seattle is much better than Miami, holding Nashville and Seattle scoreless. Miami has only seen both teams score in 1 of 5. Cincy 2 of 5. I like Cincy's defense, and I think, they get that first goal, and Miami will have a really hard time to put up anything. So I'm taking the money line again, minus 135. If you want to get a little bit more into the thick of things, I don't hate the under 2.75 at minus 120. I think save yourself, some money. If you're uncertain with Cincinnati, I don't see 3 goals being scored in this game.
Yeah, Ty, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one.
All right.
So pay attention, people. This is our first disagreement of the show today. I still believe in Inter. I know that they have really been trash the last few weeks. 2 of those games were on the road against New York, NYCFC, and Toronto. Both those were on the road, but they did take down Philadelphia team 2-0 at home. They beat Montreal, who are both teams that have been downgraded, but 2-0 shutouts against both of those teams I really like. I think after 3 losses in a row, I think the team's going to come together. They know they need to get something. So I think we actually might see some more goals in this game because of their poor form the past few games. I like Cincinnati to continue scoring. They've really been beating up on people, but they did only have 39% possession last week. So I think Inter might really take a chance on controlling the ball. They took 1 million shots on goal last week, so it's not like they're not pounding the ball. I just think they haven't had anything fall yet. I was high on this Inter team coming into the year. I've downgraded them a little bit, but even in that game last week where they lost 3-2, they still had 67% possession, 4 corners, 7 shots on target. It wasn't terrible. I mean, Chicago sucks, and they should have won that game, but I'm looking at the season as a whole, and that's part of the reason why, like I told you, I don't really watch games, because if you were to watch that game, you might be really seriously downgrading them this year. From last game. But if you look at the season as a whole, the players on their team, what they were expected to be coming into the season, I'm not giving up on Inter yet.
Okay, all right. I mean, if Brenner and Vasquez get going,
he might. I mean, Vasquez's first goal last week, that might put a little gas in his engine.
So what would you say your play is? Inter Miami.
So I'm on both. I'm on both teams to score yes on this game, and I'm on over 2.5.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Cincinnati could, if things start going similar to that Columbus game, score 3 themselves. We'll see. But yeah, I am on the opposite.
I can see like a 2-2 draw in this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope not. Miami. I put Miami on the no bet list, and they somehow screw me over once again. I got to stop saying no bet list too, because I feel like when I say that, it speaks some bad betting into existence.
Sure.
We are also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy continues their March Madness College Pick'em. It is a great way to get in on the action, especially if your bracket is busted. Plus, Underdog Fantasy has your favorite college basketball player props and great NBA and NHL daily games. Head over to underdogfantasy.com and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
Sure. Next up, we got the LA Galaxy hosting the Seattle Sounders, a classic matchup which would have people and bettors as well as soccer football fans salivating at these two teams playing or meeting up in old MLS days. LA Galaxy plus 115 favorites, Sounders plus 225 underdogs, the draw plus 260, over-unders at 2.75, leaning more towards the under. Jacob, who do you like in the Galaxy Sounders match?
I don't have a read on a winner, but I do like the under in this game. Both of these teams, they're expected. So I'll give you a little expected goal breakdown, right? So goals for Seattle is at 2 right now, while their expected goals is at 1.64. So they're overperforming. We might be able to see a little regression there. LA Galaxy, their goals for is at average 0.5 a game because they are not scoring at all. And while their expected goals at 1.42, I don't see that much positive regression in like from one game to the next, especially since Seattle hasn't been giving up many goals. And because of that. And Seattle's on the road in this one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Seattle going on the road. I don't think it's going to let up many goals. Galaxy hasn't been scoring. They also haven't been giving up many goals. And because of that, and their expected goal and the regression we might see from Seattle, and even if there's positive regression from Galaxy, it's not going to be that much to push it over. So I do like the under 3 in this game.
Yeah, that's one of my plays. It's not my official play. You can make it my official play if you want, but I do like under 3 at -150. The Galaxy were going up against a team in Portland. I watched that entire match. Scared me to death after taking Portland draw no bet because LA Galaxy were on the front foot the entire time. Portland did have a chance at the very end, two chances, I believe, to score there. But Galaxy should have won that match, and they couldn't get a goal against Portland. And Seattle is not a easier squad to go up against. I was nervous. The Galaxy came out, Puig or Pooch, as the announcers kept on saying, which confused the hell out of me. I thought it was Ricky Puig. Sounds like the announcers are saying Ricky Pooch. So if you're listening, please fill us in as to how you actually pronounce his name. And then Preston Judd, looked like another star guy who was in there, I believe, for Chicharito. Both of them could have scored. Portland held the fort down, though. Seattle on the other side, wow, man. I mean, they stopped Sporting Kansas City on the road. Jordan Morris put 4 goals. 4 goals. He had a hat trick in the second half, too.
Yep.
Long-term season projection, right now I have Seattle as the top team in the West. Both teams have scored, has occurred in 5 of 6. Over has hit 4 of 6. Surprisingly, though, Seattle is really efficient in their matches with total goals average of 2.4, sitting in 17th in MLS. The Galaxy are 28th with 1.5 goals per match. Sounders are extremely productive. 10 goals, 5 matches. LA has scored 2 goals in 4 matches. Seattle has allowed the fewest goals in MLS at 2 goals in 5 matches. A lot of credit can be contributed to the defensive work rate for Seattle, as well as Stephen Fry, their goalie, standing on his head. Galaxy are still looking for their first win. I do think the Galaxy are slight favorites, but in terms of how the books have it, I don't think Seattle should be this heavy of an underdog. So maybe take a flyer quarter bet on the money line and or half a unit on the draw no bet for Seattle. But my official play is going to be the Seattle Sounders double chance at -140. Double chance ultimately means that you win the bet if Seattle doesn't lose. So if they draw or they win, you win. That's why the odds are at -140. I think Seattle to LA, and maybe LA Galaxy do win, right? But ultimately at the price for the Sounders to not lose, I'll take it. Maybe we see Jordan Morris score 2 goals here. Wouldn't surprise me.
And just to strengthen that for you a little bit, the Sounders have not lost the last 10 meetings with Galaxy.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So question, are you on draw no bet or double chance?
Double chance.
So so you win if they draw too, right?
Yep.
So okay. So double chance is you hit if Seattle wins or draws, and then draw no bet is if it's a draw, it's a push.
Yep.
Just for the listeners out there.
Exactly. And so sometimes it's nice. Yes, the draw no bet, you do get, typically plus odds in scenarios where you want to take double chance. But in this instance, I'm backing Seattle to not lose, and I want the money. I don't want to push. I do not want to push. And so I would say if you're feeling a little confident, and you don't want to do double chance, I would say skip the draw no bet and just go money line. Honestly, because I think they were plus 225. No point in taking draw no bet if you think Seattle's going to win it outright. So
right.
All right, next up we got a couple of teams from the Northeast. New England Revolution hosting New York City FC. Revs plus 115 favorites. New York City FC plus 230 underdogs. Draw plus 250. Over-unders at 2.5. Leaning towards a pick-em in the total category. The Revolution sit atop the Eastern Conference with 4 wins, 5 matches. Falling behind 1-0 to a Benteke DC United goal. They scored 2 second-half goals to earn all 3 points. The Revs are getting goals from some unknown players like 17-year-old Noel Buck and Gustavo Bou. Some names to point out. Bobby Wood, Josie Altidore, and Giacomo Veroni have 1 goal combined this season. And 2021 MLS MVP Carles Gil, he entered in the second half, and he looked unbelievably good. He's been managing a leg injury, so he can't go the full 90. On the flip side, you got New York City FC, right? We called Houston last week's pod. New York City FC had 5 shots with 1 on target. You're not going to score goals with that kind of gross offensive performance. New York City FC has been up and down. Typically past seasons, I want to say the past 2, they've looked like one of the stronger teams in the East. Not so much this season. They've seen 1 goal come on the road thus far. New York City has won for the last 6 with the overhitting and for the last 6 as well. New England has yet to allow a goal at home. Similarly, New York City FC has 1 goal in 3 road matches and have yet to keep a clean sheet while on the road. I'm starting to believe in Bruce Arena and these Revolution. I think the Revs, can get the job done. And, with their low both teams to score hitting, I'm not willing to bank on New York City FC to do much. So another case of Ty taking a home money line team in the New England Revolution at plus 115.
Yeah, it's smart. It's really smart, especially since New York City FC have really performed poorly on the road this year. We saw the loss to Houston, draw to Chicago, lost to Nashville. We've seen Nashville perform poorly since then, so that really puts kind of a bright spot on a bad loss for them. And New England really sitting top of the table. I can't believe it. I might have to go to a game. It's only like an hour away from me. I might have to go check them out in person. But the fact that NYCFC lost to Houston, and Houston is just so bad, they pour on shots on target, pour on corners, while New England just pounded the ball all game long on DC United. They had something like 16 shots, and they've been doing that every single game, really pounding the ball. The one play I like on this to keep some plus money is because New England's defense is so good and we haven't seen NYCFC score too much on the road, I like New England and under 4.5 goals at plus 145.
Ooh, I like that. I do like that. Yeah. Hopefully New York City FC doesn't come from old times within themselves to find a couple of goals on this one, but I don't think they will, especially on the road.
No, I think they might get a goal, so you might want to take a look at maybe both teams to score 2 in this, but I think this could be like a 2-1 finish for New England.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think the Revolution will keep on winning. Bruce Arena has figured out how to capture some success for the Revolution. Next up, we got Orlando City hosting Nashville SC. Orlando City plus 145 favorites. Nashville plus 185 underdogs. The draw plus 245. Over unders at 2.5, leaning more towards the right now at minus 120. Tons of props to Orlando going into Philly, beating reigning Eastern Conference champions Philadelphia. They got 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, and that was enough to beat Philly on the road, which is crazy because Philly dominated with 26 shots, but couldn't find the equalizer. What's more impressive for Orlando, their starting goalkeeper, Pedro Galese, was away on international duty for Peru, but his backup, Mason Stadhuar, I feel like I butchered that, made 5 saves. Nashville, on the flip side, the away team dominated possession against Cincy. Their Achilles heel thus far on the season is finding goals, and that's their Achilles heel pretty much in their MLS history. They struggle to find goals. Hani Mukhtar and Sapong haven't lived up to their billing. These teams, though, have seen both teams to score in each of the last 6, which is surprising, knowing that Nashville struggles to score and has a really stout defense. The total has only gone over 3 of 6, and they have 3 1-1 draws in their past 6. So potentially a draw, potentially a small play on both teams to score. Orlando at home is averaging a goal total of 1.33 over 3 games. We know Nashville struggles to score. Nashville hasn't scored in either of their 2 away games. They've only allowed 1 goal on the road. Nashville, though, allowed 2 goals in 5 matches on the season. Their conversion rate is terrible. Nashville, though, doesn't allow goals. So, I mean, that's what keeps them in it, right? They know that if they can keep the opponent to 0, they just need 1. That's kind of been the MO for Nashville since they've been a team in MLS, and it's worked for them. So I think with Galese back in net for Orlando City, Orlando City shouldn't allow more than a goal here. Nashville is 0 for 5 in both teams to score category on the season. Let's take a look at Orlando City draw no bet at -125.
I like it. It's not a bet I'm gonna make. This game, honestly, they're just such trash teams. And it's really, when two bad teams play each other, it's like my brain cannot compute.
Why do you think Nashville's a trash team?
They don't score enough for me.
Okay. One of those things.
Yeah, I am one of those soccer fans. Their expected goal is at 1. I mean, the goals for is at 0.8. So I mean, they're right on there, but they rank 25th overall in expected goals. Orlando City isn't much better. Their goals for they have an average of 1 goal a game, and their expected goals is 1.09, so it's not too much of a difference. I actually think this game has a 1-1 draw written all over it. Yeah, I might take a shot at like a quarter unit play on correct score. Check the Twitter for that at Pick Management if you want to take a look. I'll have that posted later in the week. But the one play I am on this game, I like the first half under. Two teams that don't really score a lot. It's at -120. If you want to try and get a little greedy, you can take the under 1.5, and that is at so it's 1.25. That's at -185. I know it's juicy, but you'll at least get the win and avoid the push. If not, and you want to take just the 1, you'll have the push if someone scores. But I don't see this first half going over 1 at all. So I am on the under 1.
Yeah, I could see that very well happening. If it was 2.5 to 3, 2.75, I would definitely take the under. I hate taking under 2.5s just because they scare the heck out of me. And I feel like
3's at 225. I mean, that's just screaming what the books say under in this game. If you see a 3 at -225, that's book saying no way this is going over.
Yeah, and Nashville, 0 for 5 in both teams to score on the season. So, which,
that's a good streak.
We'll make that 0 for 6. We got the Philadelphia Union hosting Sporting Kansas City up next. The Union -165 favorites, +440 for Sporting Kansas City, +310 is the draw. Over-unders at 2.5, leaning more towards the over. Maybe I was wrong about the Union. Nope, I wasn't. We're only 5 weeks into the season. I said this earlier. The Union had 26 shots, but only 6 on target against Orlando City. It's hard when you go down 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. You got to play another 80, though. They battled back in the first half, got a goal. I thought for sure we were going to see the team total hit. I know both of us were on it. That was really frustrating, especially after a first half goal. You think the Union are going to come storming back. I think the Union, though, find their groove. This is a really bad spot for Sporting Kansas City. I know I said that last week, but, Sporting Kansas City scored the first goal against Seattle, and then disaster struck, allowing Jordan Morris. Add insult to injury, Ben Sweat received a red card after 2 yellow cards, will be out this week. Recent history shows that these two, to be even, the total has hit 1 of the last 5. Right now, I don't like the Union money line, though. At -165, it's not worth the price, given especially, I know Union are at home. I still think the Union will win, but I don't trust them enough to take that heavy price. Sporting Kansas City has yet to win a match. The Union could put up goals in a hurry. However, Sporting Kansas City has the second best expected goals statistic in MLS without a win, which is crazy. And you know who's in third? The Philadelphia Union. So, but the Union are putting away goals much more than Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City looked extremely consistent. They've scored 2 goals on the season. Union will concede goals. I don't know if they concede more than 1 to Sporting Kansas City. So I do like the team total at -140. It's not my official play, though. I'm taking Union money line and over 1.5. I think the Union get 2 goals here. Sporting Kansas City get 1, so be it. That's what I'm taking at -110.
Full disclosure, listeners, on this game. Last week, I was going to play the bonus game and try and get some risk-free bets, and I was going to take LAFC team total over 1.5, but I decided to get greedy, and I talked to Ty beforehand, and it's Ty. I'm going to take Philadelphia Union team total over 1.5, and then I'm going to flip that and do it again on LAFC. Did not make it past the first leg. Could not believe it. 17th minute goal and then nothing else on 26 shots. I kidding me? I could not believe it. I was ready to rip my hair out.
You know what's good too though is or what was looking to be good is the Philadelphia goes down 2-0 and you're like, okay, now they got to battle back. Right? They need 2 goals, and that first goal came and you're like, oh, perfect, here we go.
17th minute, I said, oh, gravy, I got this. You got all game.
Gravy.
Yeah, I'm good. I didn't even watch the rest of it, and then I looked at that like an hour and a half later, and I was all set. And I could not believe it. But I'm not giving up on Union. I'm still taking their team total over 1.5 at home, especially after 26 goals. I mean, this is a good team with like real all-star players here, and they have got to be disappointed with the results that they've been seeing. So I think this team comes together. I think they blow out Kansas City at home. I mean, I put a lot of stock still after we've seen what Columbus has done the rest of the season on that 4-1 beating that they put on Columbus in game 1 at home. And I can, I can see them doing it here, kind of something similar to Kansas City. So I'm on just Philadelphia team total over 1.5. I'm staying away from the money line just because it is steep. But yeah, that's just my one play in this game. I'm still sticking with the team total over 1.5.
Yeah, I think it very well could hit. Sporting Kansas City has allowed goals, and the Union at home. Yeah, I think the Union could put up a heavy number, and maybe I know you like to play these, Jacob, but maybe take a look at the total goals for Union team total and stack them if you want.
Sure,
get a little risky there.
I mean, they're over 1.5 is at 140. I can see 3. I really can. That's at plus 220. So at least one rung of the ladder.
Yeah, I think plus 220 for the Union 3 goals is not unheard of. Keeping on with the rhythm here, Toronto FC hosts Charlotte FC. Toronto plus 110 favorites at home. Charlotte FC plus 240. Draw plus 260. Over unders leaning at 2.75, leaning more towards the under. Jacob, who do you like between Toronto and Charlotte?
For this game, I don't like either team. I got to say, Toronto hasn't really been performing. We've seen some low scoring, both teams score games here. Charlotte too. While Charlotte did get on board versus New York Red Bull last week, they were at home, and to only get a 1-1 draw at a New York Red Bull at home. I don't really like Charlotte. They lost. They did beat Orlando City, but Orlando City sucks, and they lost the 3 games before that. They did have, I will say, they have played a tough schedule. Game 1 versus New England, Game 2 versus Cincinnati, versus St. Louis, Game 3 versus Atlanta. So they have played a really tough schedule. But we've kind of seen the same thing from Toronto. I was really surprised to see Toronto keep San Jose to a 0-0 draw after we've seen San Jose score so much so far this season. Especially at San Jose was at home, and they scored a lot at home this year. So because of that, after we saw 15 shots on goal from Toronto and nothing to really reward themselves for that last week, and we did see Charlotte only on 6 shots on goal, 1 on target, did get on board. I think we'll see a little bit better performance from them. So I do like a 1-1 draw in this game. So I'm on the under in this game, and I'm on both teams to score yes.
Yeah, no, I think Charlotte somehow is
hanging on,
doing well, which blows my fucking mind. I don't know what is happening in MLS anymore, but who's ready to jump on the Toronto bandwagon again with me? Let's go. Just kidding. They tied 0-0 against San Jose, but I took the double chance, and that worked out for me. Hopefully no one stayed up for that ugly, boring game on Saturday evening. Charlotte, what? 2 decent results back to back. I mean, a draw at home versus the Red Bulls. I'm sure they are thrilled. Shit. Holy cow. 6 shots, 1 on target, 1 goal. And that goal was a Red Bulls own goal. Still, things are looking up, though. No way in hell am I betting Charlotte. I probably won't bet them the remainder of the season, regardless of who they're playing. Toronto has won the only 2 meetings against Charlotte with 2-0 and 4-0 results. This match may very well be a classic Toronto 3-2, 4-3 victory. I do see Charlotte scoring. Toronto does give up goals. I think Toronto do get 3 points, though. Charlotte have a 3% conversion rate on shots. That is so bad. Put me in, coach. I could fucking score 3% of the shots that I take. It's probably, what is that, 100 shots?
That's 3 shots.
I need to score on 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple math, Ty. There we go. Charlotte have the 4th highest goals conceded in MLS at 9 in 5 games, still average just above 1 goal conceded per match. Toronto has seen over 2.5 in 1 of the 5 matches thus far, which is kind of surprising because Toronto typically like to play high-scoring games. I'm taking Toronto money line, jumping on that bandwagon again. If you want to get a little frisky with me, I know I said this could be a classic Toronto high-scoring game, but we haven't seen that thus far this season. So take a little risk with me. Let's go Toronto money line at under 3.5 at plus 200. Holy cow, minus 200 would be a terrible bet in that scenario. So I think Toronto score. Charlotte, I think, do score, but I think Toronto will get 2 and ultimately the 3 points at home. All right, we have a couple more games left, and next up is the Chicago Fire hosting DC United. Chicago, minus 115 favorites. DC United, plus 310. The draw, plus 265. Over-unders split, or actually, no, it's at 2.5, leaning more towards the over. Fire, sure do like to make things interesting. Back-to-back games where they score 3 goals. The over has soared over. Against Miami, we see 5 goals, and Cincinnati, we see 6. This was their first win of the season. Now they find themselves at home against DC United. If you're a DC United fan right now, supporter, you're got to be really frustrated. 4 straight results without a win after opening the season, beating Toronto 3-2 at home. They lose last week to New England at home. That's tough. DC United have conceded at least 2 goals in 5 of their 6. I guess the Fire do want to play fast and beat you with goals, but both DC United away matches have resulted in losses for Wayne Rooney's side. I'm still a Benteke believer, and I do like DiPietro up top with him. They do need to create more chances, or else these 2-1 losses are going to add up in a hurry. You can't really take much away from that. That's, you score a goal, but you allow 0 points in those matches. Neither team really excites me with the idea of winning this matchup. Instead, I lean with the total. The Fire sit in 4th, DC in 5th in terms of average goals per game in MLS, both at about 3.4. Both teams who score for these two has occurred in 75% of these teams' matches this season. Fire may succeed early. We've seen some fireworks for the Fire in some recent games, but DC United may nick a goal as well. I'm taking the over 2.5 at minus 120. I think that's a great play. Neither of these teams' defenses are really that strong, and I think both have enough offensive firepower to at least get 1, maybe 2 each.
Sure. I see Fire as one of these, Chicago Fire is one of these teams that's going to be bad all year, but put up a ton of goals every game. You guys know the kind of team I'm talking about. So I really like them. I like their team total here a lot. DC United did have quite a few players out and had a different kind of lineup last week versus New England. But they still got beat bad by New England, and they're just not a very good team, even with a full healthy roster. Through 5 games, DC have allowed more goals than any other team besides Portland. So I would definitely take a look at the Chicago Fire team total over here. I get that. They beat the Chicago Fire, did let Inter back in that game. For that reason, I do like both teams to score here. I am cautious about it with DC United on the road, but I think Chicago will let in some goals. So I'm looking at both teams to score. Yes, here Chicago team total over 1.5, and maybe a small play on the money line. That's more of a lean for me, though.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Fire DC United, it's tough when you think both teams are going to score. Who knows what will happen? So it might be a scenario where you take the team that's not favored and draw no bet or double chance them. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, the way I see that game going, I can see DC getting an early goal and then not anything else, and then Chicago scoring the rest of the game.
Chicago scoring 4. Yeah, there we go. Total 5. 11 goals.
Yeah.
In their past 2 matches, which is quite insane.
Yeah.
They obviously know how to play defense. Next up, we got FC Dallas against Portland. FC Dallas minus 155, Portland plus 420 underdogs. The draw plus 310, over unders at 2.5 to 3, leaning more towards the under. I think we all expected LAFC to beat Dallas like they did, a methodical 2-1 victory for MLS champs. Tuamusi for Dallas got a red card in the 35th minute. Dallas tied it up late, though, only to concede a few minutes later. Credit to FC Dallas for staying in that game. They got a red card in the first half. That is never a easy thing to do. It was really uphill for Dallas after that red. 7 shots, 3 on target. Outside of a home defeat to start the season, Dallas was on a 3-match unbeaten streak with 2 home wins. Portland, I know I said this earlier, are extremely lucky to have gotten out of that match against the Galaxy with just a draw. Galaxy were on the front foot. Portland did have a chance to potentially win it there at the end. Portland did go to LAFC a couple weeks ago, put up 2 goals against them. And Dallas has yet to keep a clean sheet this season. Both teams' to score has occurred in four straight. Portland have scored in both of their away matches against Atlanta and LAFC. 2 teams I think are better than Dallas. Portland has conceded the second most goals in MLS at 10 in 5 matches. And thanks to averaging 4 goals conceded on the road, I do think we see both teams to score. Right now it is at minus 130. I think that's a really solid play. Dallas are too heavily juiced on the money line for me. I do think Dallas wins, but I'm willing to back a both teams to score minus 130, maybe a little over 2.5 minus 130. Dallas team total over 1.5 as well at minus 140. But to be honest, this is probably a stay away game for me. I don't think I trust Dallas to put up a ton of goals here, and Portland is just too inconsistent. They could, if they have that performance against LAFC where they scored 2 goals, they very well could win this match.
Sure. Portland is one of my worst teams that I have power rated this year. They're really, because of their inconsistency, it's hard to get a read on them.
Yeah.
They do have a long injury list right now, so I will cut them some slack for that. And then we take a look at Dallas. Like you said, Dallas did go down 10 men. Honestly, if you watch that game, they almost tied that game up like real late in the game, right off the top crossbar. I think Carlos Vela hit off the crossbar at like late in the game. So they played a good game against LAFC, and we've seen them put up goals on pretty much everyone they've played so far this year, except for playing Minnesota at home, their first game, which it's the first game. It's okay. It happens. So I do like Dallas here a lot. I'm sorry, I have the wrong odds up. So for Dallas, I am on their money line minus 155. I am on their team total, and I do like something like Dallas and over 1.5 for the game. Dallas at 110.
Or
oh no, so for over 1.5, it's at minus 110. Then over 2.5 is plus 140. Honestly, I would take a look at the Dallas and plus 2.5 too at plus 140. I think we see 3 goals in this game, and I think we see Dallas win. So smart math will put those 2 together.
Yeah. No. The team total for Dallas is minus 145.
It's a little juicy. I'm okay with it. I think it hits. I really do. I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah. I think so as well. That's one of my plays. I'm still unsure about Portland, but I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think Dallas team total over at home is going to be a play all year long.
Yeah, I think they might stop at 2 though, which is scary. You never know though. We'll see. Next up, we got St. Louis City, the team of the season thus far, hosting Minnesota United. St. Louis, minus 125 favorites. Minnesota, plus 320 underdogs to draw, plus 285. Over-unders split 2.75, leaning more slightly towards the over. Who do you like in this one, Jacob?
Keep it simple. We're riding the St. Louis train till the wheels fall off. I was looking at a all red satin St. Louis City bomber jacket on Fanatics the other day. I was thinking about buying it. I am on St. Louis. I'm on goals in this game. Both of these teams like to shoot the ball a lot. I think the Loons have been doing a great job, even though they're missing Emmanuel Reynosa. But they need to start getting some more wins. They need to turn these draws into wins. But we've seen them score in every single game so far this year. Same thing with St. Louis. So I'm on both teams to score. Yes, I'm on St. Louis team total over 1.5. I am on St. Louis money line, and did I say over 2.5 in the game?
I don't think so, but
okay, well I'm on that. I'm on that too.
Yep. Yeah, I'm on all those plays. Very much so. Keep it simple, especially at home. 5 games, 5 wins is sure seems like they're here to party. St. Louis, or excuse me, Salt Lake did have more possession and shots, but couldn't find a goal. Minnesota will be flustered to allow a 90 stoppage time goal to Vancouver. St. Louis has scored 2 goals every game thus far. They've seen over 2.5 in all 5 matches. Minnesota's played 2 away matches, won both of them. So I think Minnesota very well could get a goal, which only it helps our over. St. Louis team total right now is probably the Philadelphia Union team total play of the season thus far. And then the money line right now, minus 125, I think is pretty solid. Minnesota is a quality squad. And will battle. So that's probably not my first play. I would say over 2.5, and then the St. Louis team total, because Minnesota very well could battle back and get 2 goals. So that's what I'm going to stick with. I do like the St. Louis money line though. I don't think their streak ends of wins here, and St. Louis is going to regress eventually, right? Maybe not.
Maybe not. I think they're for real. I think that is a for real team.
I know their opponents just need to stop passing balls back to Joao Klaus, because then it's basically a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I can score a one-on-one with the goalkeeper at least 50% of the time. We'll say, maybe.
Just to keep everyone just on your toes a little bit, I will say Minnesota has not allowed more than 2 goals in a game this season so far.
Oh, why'd you have to say that? We were all back in St. Louis, and now I'm scared.
Hey, man, the odds are odds, and it's the fact of it. But just because they haven't doesn't mean they won't.
Very true. And St. Louis has defied every type of odd against them in all 5 games thus far. So hopefully the time we're both on them, they don't screw it up, which I feel like is going to happen because every time I say that on the pod about a certain game, it happens. All right, next up, we have the Colorado Rapids. We get into the evening matches, late evening, excuse me. Rapids hosting LAFC. Rapids plus 200 underdogs, LAFC plus 125. The draw plus 270. Over-unders split 2.75, leaning slightly more towards the over. How the Rapids got a point against Austin blows my mind. Kevin Cabral, the former LA Galaxy stud, scored in the 85th minute to level. Once that happened, I knew we were done for. Just getting a point. LAFC on the flip side dominated FC Dallas in possession, resulting in a 2-1 home victory. Dennis Bouanga got the late winner for LAFC, and this was his 3rd goal of the season. I'm sure some people maybe saw it on Twitter or on the internet. He basically took like a 13-hour flight from Turkey.
Yeah, I saw that.
Arrived in LA at like 3 p.m. and then like 5 hours later enters the match and scores a goal.
It wasn't even that long. It was he got there an hour before the match.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know how you do that. I also LAFC. I get he's one of your top men, but I'd be a little hesitant to just throw someone out there after being on a plane for 13 hours, knowing that, legs might be a little wary, jet lag is real. There's obviously smarter people in MLS training staff than myself. But after seeing that, I was like, this guy's, probably going to be, one of, if not the top scorer for LAFC. And after a 13-hour flight, you decide to throw him on. He didn't start, so I do get it. But just, I would be concerned. I'd be like, let's save him. But he did get the game winner, so can't really talk much there. LAFC have not lost the season, 3 wins, 1 draw. Colorado has sucked it up extremely. They did get a point, though. They've scored 2 goals on the season. They did get 1 against Austin. Blew up my Austin moneyline play. Colorado will concede. In their 2 home matches, they've only allowed 2 goals, though. LAFC's away matches were a 0-0 draw against Seattle. LAFC does have the 3rd most goals in MLS, 9 goals, 4 matches. Colorado's tied at the bottom. I don't know why LAFC are this heavy, not heavier favorites. Draw no bet at minus 148 for LAFC. Give me that. No matter who they're playing. And then maybe the team total over 1.5 at plus 100.
I think the books are reading way too much into the 0-0 draw away. And I think that's why we're getting it. Just because LAFC has played 3 home games and dominated those home games, they're a dominant team. They're going to go on the road and dominate, especially playing a weak Colorado team on the road for the first time. I think this sets up perfect for LAFC domination on their first road game against not a good team. So because of that, I'm on basically the same stuff as you. I love it. So I'm on LAFC team total over 1.5. I'm going back to the well. I'm taking just their money line at plus 125. Colorado has shown me nothing that says that they are ready to take on LAFC. They're not ready to take on this team. So because of that, you guys know my plays. I'm also honestly, you might get lucky if you wanted to hammer something in this game over 2.25. So you get half your bet back if it doesn't go over 2.5. Is at minus 193. I know it's so it's basically 2-1, but if you take 5 units and throw it on something like that, a 2.5 unit return on something juicy isn't too bad. So those are my plays, and we are moving on. We got 2 games left.
2 games left. Now we're into the actual late night games on Saturday, April 1st. San Jose hosts Houston Dynamo. San Jose minus 120 favorites. The Dynamo plus 310. The draw plus 280. Over-unders at 2.75, leaning more towards the under slightly. And Jacob, just to give everyone, some heads up as to kind of why we do it the way we do it. Typically, Jacob and I have to cap 14 games, MLS games, and we want them to be efficient. We want to be able to get the best odds and best place for you. So if it does seem like we are going a little faster, that is because there's 14 games and we're trying to cover them all. So, please take that for what it's worth. I know some people have said, can you go a little bit more into each game? We're happy to. I think we're going to be breaking down some video plays for specific games, but trying to cover all 14 games and keep it efficient for y'all around about an hour or under is kind of our goal. So I tell you that just in case you're like, wow, these guys are kind of flying through some games. That's kind of our goal for the podcast, and I think we've done a really good job thus far. Also,
keep an eye on the social. Keep an eye on our socials. We got great info that comes out all throughout the week. When we see stuff that's great, we put it up for everybody. So,
and if you're curious about a game, you want a little bit more insight into, our official plays or who we like, feel free to ping us. Right? Don't feel like you have to just wait for the podcast or the YouTube video to come out to kind of get a good understanding of who we're on or maybe some more insight. We're always happy to help you. But in this one, I didn't think San Jose Toronto would finish without a goal, but here we are. Cade Cowell supposed to have a breakout campaign this season for San Jose. Hasn't done much in 5 games. San Jose has been inconsistent. 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Looks like Jackson Ewell was going to win the game for San Jose in stoppage time, but the theme of that match was lack of offensive cohesion and flow of the game. I did call Houston beating New York City FC at home. Back-to-back wins now for the Dynamo. The total has hit 4 of the last 6 between these two. San Jose looks like a different team at home where they've yet to lose. I think the total is a tad high. I would want it right at 2.5. Houston have lost their last 2 away matches with a -4 goal differential. They have a 3% shot conversion rate on the road. You know who else has a 3% shot conversion rate just in general in MLS? Charlotte FC. Neither of these teams right now will blow you away with goals. I'm taking the under 3 at -150. To be honest, this is a night game, Saturday night. I don't love it. I really don't. It's probably a stay away, but I lean towards the under.
This is another game that we are on different sides. I think San Jose is going to be, maybe. So San Jose, I think, is going to be one of those teams, besides their result last week, that's going to score a lot of goals at home. I think Houston's going to give up a lot of goals on the road. We've seen it so far this year. Gave up 3 to New England, 2 to Cincinnati. Not the greatest teams, but we've seen what San Jose can do at home, and they've put up goals. Plus, San Jose's actual goals versus expected goals is almost a whole goal difference. So we should see some positive regression from them. And honestly, it's the same thing with Houston right now too. They're about half a goal off for what they should be scoring per game. So I think we might see some positive regression from both teams here. And I'm looking at both teams to score. Yes, I think that's actually where I'm going to leave it at, because I am too scared of it getting to 3. But I do think each team can get on board here at least once. So I'm sticking with that both teams to score.
And like you said, like you were saying, I don't trust either team's defense. San Jose typically in seasons past, and I think similar to this squad last year, they've shown that they can get some goals. And the Dynamo obviously back-to-back wins. So who really knows, right? Saturday night MLS, after dark,
be there.
could be interesting. But the final match of the MLS slate week 6, 2 Canadian teams, Vancouver hosting Montreal, +120 for Vancouver, +220 for Montreal, +255 is the draw. Over-unders at 2.75, leaning more towards the under. Jacob, who do you like in this matchup of the final game in week 6?
I don't really have a favorite here. I'm just really disappointed in Montreal. If you listen to episode 1, that was my team to go into the season to ride high on. Wilfred Nancy left after left this past year. And he really developed that team, and I thought they would, stick around at least a little bit, but they have just been trashed. I think a week off for them was exactly what the doctor ordered, so I think we might see them get on board here. They did get on board against Philly. They did get on board against NYCFC. It's been, only in 2 out of the last 5 games they've scored, but we have seen Vancouver give up a goal in every single game to their opponents, and I think we can see something like that here. Vancouver has had 3 draws in a row, and I think we might see 4. So check out a 1-1 draw for Vancouver, Montreal.
Yeah, the official.
That's actually my official play. Is a 1-1 draw
score.
Here.
All right.
Yeah, correct score play to finish it off.
Yeah, Vancouver draw caps have had 3 straight 1-1 ties. I like saying that. Last year it was the Columbus drawbacks. Crewbacks, drawbacks, however you want to call them. But now it's the draw caps. Vancouver, 3 straight 1-1. A gracious 98th minute goal for Simon Betcher saw the draw caps level against Minnesota. Montreal, like you said, had the bye after beating the Union 3-2 at home. Prior to that, Montreal had lost 3 straight, all without scoring a goal. Montreal does hold the advantage, winning 4 of the last 6. 4 of the last 6, too, have also seen both teams to score, and over 2.5. Every match has seen at least 2 goals between these 2 sides. We haven't seen Montreal score an away goal. Both teams average 1 goal or less scored per match. Vancouver, like you said, has seen both teams score in all 5 of their matches. The only team to have seen that thus far in MLS. I trust Vancouver more than I trust Montreal. I know it's 2 Canadian squads battling it out. I'm not taking the money line. Vancouver Whitecaps draw no bet -160 right now is my official play. Not the greatest odds, to be honest, and I wouldn't be I wouldn't be opposed to taking an under 2.75 at -120. I don't think Montreal gets more than 1 if they even do get 1. And, with a 1-1 draw, not only does my draw no bet push, but the under 2.75 hits. So I'll stick with that. And with that, we conclude week 6 of the MLS Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We got some good stuff in the works, folks. We got our TikTok, we got our YouTube going. Please check us out. Give us a rating on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our own Twitter. My name is Ty Roeder at TRods1019 and at SoccerDegen. Jacob Breb on the other side with me at Pick Management on Twitter. We also have our own Twitter at MLSSGPN. And without further ado, we have a special guest, Allan Bell, who I will let Jacob here announce in a second. But Jacob, week 6 in the books, my man. Let's ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Check me out on Twitter and TikTok at Pick Management. Check us out on TikTok as well at MLS Gambling Podcast. We have a new TikTok. Our YouTube is popping. Make sure to go follow, subscribe. And yeah, Allan Bell from CBS Sports and Sportsline is coming up next. Stick around. He's got some bonus plays, some great info for you, and some advice on if you want to be a professional like sports bettor or sports writer. He's going to let us know what you got to do to get there. So stick around for the next few minutes, and we will see you guys later.
Adios.
We are back with Allan Bell from CBS Sportsline, one of the best sports bettors out there. You won't find better info from anyone. So yeah, Allan, thanks for joining us. We are here. Get some thoughts from you from the MLS season, any plays, and some extra stuff. So how's it going, sir?
Yeah. Hey, first off, let me say that was a heck of a nice intro. Check is in the mail. I appreciate that. Number two, man, it's awesome to be on with you guys. And let me say this, and I love you guys' thoughts on it. I feel like this start to the MLS season has kind of been like college basketball, to where it's been a little wild, right? Like, I mean, you've seen teams that started off, week one, bam, like everything that you thought they would be, and then a 2-week stretch of just nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like, at least right now, like parity around the league is kind of showing a little bit, but man,
yeah, no, I could not agree with you more, Allan. I think that's, I want to say yes, that may be an MLS thing, but I think it's more so a football or soccer dilemma, making it one of the tougher sports to bet because there are so few goals. You really got to be sharp, and being
that's
sharp
right there.
Being sharp is so difficult, especially with teams in low scoring matches that you see a lot of 1-1 results that ultimately blow up bets, blow up unit sizes, and consistently doing that week over week is so difficult. And I think too, and I'll leave you with this: home team advantage, regardless of how good or how bad a team is such a big thing in soccer, in MLS. You could be at the bottom of the table and get a 1-1 draw against the top team just because you're at home. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. The two biggest things: playing at home and low scoring games. Like, it'll open up for sure, because the weather also plays into this too, that we've seen, spikes in it. And what I mean by that is that you'll see night games in some areas where it's 60 degrees. Others, it's 31. You know what I mean? And like any sport, Major League Baseball would be the exact same way. We say the same thing. It's like, as weird as it sounds, humidity levels and weather do have an effect. It's two totally different sports, two totally different, balls that they use. But still, when it's cold as hell, it's not fun out there. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, in LA, it's funny that you say that. I actually, I live in Austin, Texas. And in the summertime, the games don't start here until 9 p.m. And it's still like 100% humidity. Like 95 degrees, they're sweating. It's insane. Versus like you'll see later in the season, like those Colorado matches or Minnesota matches where they're playing in the snow.
Dude, 100%. I'm in Nashville, so like Nashville and Austin are very, very similar in terms of like the weather. You're 100% right. I remember going to when Nashville FC opened the stadium last year, and it was like the stadium is completely open air. Like open everything, whatever. And still at 10:30 at night, I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I am sweating ridiculously, like in the summer, because it's hot though. So yeah, totally.
Well, did you have any thoughts, anything for this weekend? Anything you're looking at?
Well, I'll tell you this. You can just go ahead and hand me St. Louis and Atlanta everything, and I'm just going to get out of the way. St. Louis, a heck of a story. Atlanta, you look at what they're doing. They're one of the few teams that's actually just putting up massive amounts of goals so far this year. I mean, St. Louis is crazy. I mean, you look at a team legitimately, they scored 14, 15 goals already this year. They've only given up like 4. Like, it's nuts, man. So, no, nothing from me yet. I will have some before Saturday, but it's starting to get, like, I'm a big both teams to score better. Like, I love playing those, and that's why it's been difficult to start the year, because you either see a game that's 1-0 or it's 4-0, and, like, you're sweating. You're like, come on, man. Like, just get one, like, late. So no plays for me yet, but I will have some. But I would love to hear you guys. Like, if you guys jumped on anything for Saturday, yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we actually this is our bonus addition to our podcast. So we actually just finished
you
all
guys
of
are
our
all
plays,
over.
but I am on. I too am on St. Louis City. I am a big believer. Ty will not let me switch my team. I gave out. Who did I give out? Montreal as my team for the year, and I will not. I'm not allowed to switch it. So St. Louis City is my backup team. But I'm on the same thing. I think Atlanta rebounds big, and St. Louis I think continues to roll.
How do we feel about? Go ahead. Yeah.
No, Alan. Let me hear what you were going to say.
Well, I was going to say, how do we feel about Philly? Because I know that they've got some issues that they're dealing with, but I mean, this roster is loaded. You know, like I'll stop there.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Philly. I think it's definitely cause for concern. We're 5 matches in. MLS is insanely long of a season. We go from basically end of February to October with a game a week. Philly is one of the few teams in MLS. There's a couple that are playing in Champions League, which does require some midweek games, having to balance some roster adjustment. I think they'll be fine. They have basically all of their production back from a year ago, and teams do go through stretches. I think, a couple of the results have been kind of lopsided for them, but I trust them to kind of ride the ship long term.
You brought, not to interrupt you, like you brought up, I think, an excellent point for anybody that's a bettor, whether they're an expert or brand new to it. It's a long season. Oh my God. Like, it's like PGA Tour. Like, it feels like it really doesn't stop. There's just like a 6-week break. You know what I mean? Like, it is a ridiculously long season. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think too, this early on, not cause for concern. I do like St. Louis. However, 5 games in, that entire squad has not been together for longer than 2 months, and they got to go another 5.5 months. I think once teams play them and get more and more at bats against them, I think they will regress. I do think they have a solid squad, but their legs are going to give out at some point. I'm expecting probably mid-June to where things really fall off. Maybe I'm wrong, though. I know Jacob and I were talking about this earlier, and maybe they keep it going, but I don't think so. I just don't think a jumpstart MLS team can sustain the type of success that they've had over the course of a season. I would love to be wrong and them go 32-0, but I just don't see that happening. A couple of plays for you, Alan, that I'm on. I do think Toronto money line at home. Charlotte sucks. Charlotte is very bad. They have gotten 2 back-to-back decent results. Which is great for Charlotte. I mean, draws for Charlotte is all they can really ask for, but Toronto at home, the money line's plus 110 right now. Yeah. I think Toronto are a much stronger squad. I think, I try to stay away from Austin because Austin's my team.
Yeah.
I think Seattle Sounders going into LA. Seattle Sounders have looked probably the best all-around team in MLS thus far. Yeah. They did lose to Cincinnati, but they got a red card, and that was kind of a weird game. Galaxy struggle heavily to score. I like Sounders money line, draw no bet. My official play, though, is double chancing them, which I'm sure you're aware of, Alan, is you win if they don't lose. Minus 130, which is a very soccer-specific sport. I mean, can you imagine in baseball, which I guess you couldn't really do, or I'm trying to think of other sports that you can relate it to.
Like, the thought process, like I get it. Like I get what
it's
you're
crazy.
Like,
it's crazy though,
and that's what that's what I love and hate both about betting football. Like whether it's MLS or international, is that you have all those options, and then when it doesn't hit, you're like, damn it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that you guys have felt the same way. You know what it happens. Like that's why soccer legit is the most fun sport to bet. Definitely. I'll say this, like, and I want to keep hearing your picks, like. I kind of feel draw like between Orlando and Nashville. You're gonna get it at like plus 235. I think the teams are pretty even, pretty like not high scoring.
Sure.
But generally allow, at this point now, I know Nashville started pretty hot defensively, but probably a 1-1 game. Like,
you're spot on. You're spot on with that, Alan, because Nashville's defense is extremely stout. And tough to score on. On the flip side, they can't score themselves.
Yeah.
So So that if Nashville gets a goal, I think the way that this occurs for Orlando City, I think Orlando City scores first, because if Nashville scores first, I think the 1-1 is going to be extremely difficult, because Nashville scores one, they like to park the bus. Yep. They like to park the bus. Who knows though? Orlando City at home, I do like that 1-1. I would even be willing to maybe take a flyer on a 0-0 bet.
Ooh, yeah.
In Orlando City. I don't know the odds on that one.
I'm going to jump in here because I do have one other play I wanted to tell you. But first, I got to tell you about something St. Louis City did that I think was really big. I touched on this last episode. Is before the season started, as they were signing players, they brought people out way earlier than they usually do. So people had time to get adjusted to the area, move their families out, any international travel issues, and let the team get set up way better than maybe some other teams or some other, upstarts or players getting traded, moving around. So I think because of that, they have had time to settle in as a team and have had more time together. And we're seeing the benefits here. But I really like LAFC this week against Colorado. Plus 125 on the money line. I like their team total over here. I'm a big team total guy. Allan, I know you're a big both teams to score guy. I know early edge all last year towards the end of the season, you would see on the picks page would be all both teams to score plays throughout the MLS. So
it was hitting like crazy towards the end of the year. Yeah.
He was. So that's what I got for me. But I just wanted to know, you've been in the industry a long time. You've been a great friend of me the past year or so, and we've been able to connect and do all this stuff. So I'm just curious to know, what did you do to get into the business? Any recommendations you have for people trying to cover sports professionally? We say it's a long MLS season, but if you're a sports writer, it might take even longer. So just wanted to get your thoughts on some stuff like that.
Yeah. I'll say that there's no correct answer, right? There are the same way to win, a match is the same way to that. There's a lot of different ways to go about doing it, right? I would say the two biggest things are don't stop, because it's a pain at times, man, and it'll test your patience for sure. And number two is to be authentic, be genuine, because you don't have to have the best, most creative, awesome content every single time. What you do need to be is genuine to it, right? And I think that especially now, the audience is, I'm not saying the audience is as intelligent, but they are more well-read and understood than an audience has ever been. So they can tell immediately if you are faking it, if you are not knowledgeable, in a topic, but you are attempting to be, dude, they'll smoke that out ASAP, right out of the gate. But if you are just authentic and genuine to who you are, it'll absolutely show. And then the most important thing is that to understand everything in life is a competition for someone's time. That's all that this is that you are looking to take, whether your show's 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever. Someone is investing their time in reading, watching, listening to you, right? And they can give up on you quick, or they can absolutely want to be a part of what you're doing if it's genuine, if it's intelligent, and if it's the most important one is entertaining. I know it sounds weird, but you have to on our show, the coach, John, the coach, when he always says educate and entertain. I swear to God, so too much. Yes, being good and smart and intelligent and all of it is absolutely important. But if you are just a stick in the mud, boring, nobody's gonna follow along. You know what I mean? So it's finding that, and long story short, finding that path between intelligent, creative, and fun, and inclusion. Inclusion that's the biggest thing that I try for in everything we do at Sportsline, CBS Sports, all of it, is that everyone's included. Everyone's a part of it. We interact with the audience every single show. I make sure everyone on my team does that. If you don't, you will not be here. They're a part of it. as far as we are. It's as much their show as it is ours, and people want a place where they belong. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's the biggest thing in that there is.
Awesome. Great stuff from Allan Bell. We won't take up too much more of your time. Cash big this week. Enjoy the rest of March Madness, and let's hit on some MLS plays.
Dude, I love it. But, hey, all right, real quick. All right, who's winning the Final Four here? All right. So we going FAU or San Diego State? Throw it against the wall. Who we got?
FAU.
San Diego State versus UConn. UConn wins it all.
FAU versus UConn. UConn wins it all.
UConn.
Okay. Hey, real big thing too, Allan, that I saw. I don't know if it's worth noting, but I think 3 players on UConn are going to be fasting for Ramadan, which means they're not even going to be. Is it? I don't know if this is accurate. So please, people in the audience, don't quote me. I think they're not going to be drinking water either
during the day. But so it's like a few tablespoons is allowed, from what I understand, as a Jew who fasts. I know a little bit about fasting, but once sun goes down, they can eat and drink whatever they want. So just imagine your sleep time is now when you're going to be eating.
True, but if the game's Saturday evening, like, are they really going to just be like overloading their systems with food and water right before a game?
Question.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're going to fire that IV in, dude.
Once I saw that, I was like, do I don't know. San Diego State really scares me. They're old, they're solid, but who do you like, Allan?
Dude, look,
or do we have to listen to your show?
Yeah, no. Like, I don't disagree. Like, San Diego State is 40 minutes of hell. Like, they are as defensive as it gets. And like you said, you were talking about Nashville. Score 1 goal and then just park this thing. Like, that's San Diego State, dude. Like, they are perfectly fine winning 51 to 50. Yeah, go ahead.
I had Charleston beating them in the first round, so.
Hey, well, at least, Allan, I went to the University of Texas for grad school.
Yeah.
And
you guys are a hell of a team, dude. Yeah.
13-point lead in the second half, and we couldn't hold on.
It's brutal. But that goes to dude, it's tough.
It's so tough.
But I like Rodney Terry, dude. Like, he's a heck of a
hot rod.
That dude is as Texas. Like, if you want to throw the that dude is as Longhorn as it gets, dude. 100%.
Yeah. So you like San Diego State? Is that who you're leaning?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I like them in UConn to win. Like, it's tough to. I'll say this though: this Miami team is nuts. Like, they don't make this Miami team would be like if you had a full squad of attackers, but they play excellent defense. Like, this Miami team is all guards, but they can somehow rebound better than teams with all big dudes. Like, they took Houston out with rebounding with guards, and it's like, what? They're just they're such a different matchup that it throws everyone off. Like, when you play them, you're like,
well, and has UConn really even been tested?
No, that's
blowouts.
Yeah.
You know? But on the flip side, you're like, they're blowing everyone out. Like, they blew Gonzaga.
Like,
blew
how do you look at it? Is that a good thing or bad thing? I know.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting. I think, I don't know. Like, I feel like people want blue bloods. And this is a year where UConn is the blue blood. Are they though? Really? It's interesting.
I know, right? Like, we could end up with an all South Florida, like FAU and Miami, which would be nuts. Like, that would be just the most Florida thing of all time. Which I feel is that's where everything is going now. It's just whatever craziness can happen, just bet on that to happen.
Yep.
So, hey, fellas, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming and joining us.
Yeah, check out Allan Bell on Twitter at AllanBell247 and the Early Edge podcast from Sportsline.
Awesome. Take care, Allan.
See you, man.